Very much. Great discussion there. And now Guy Benson, host of The Guy Benson Show on Fox Radio, and FBN's David Asman are joining us. Sorry, I was talking to you there. I really want to jump into what we just heard from the president. Even though we kind of knew it was coming, it's jarring. On the day where we have now officially entered a recession, 2 straight quarters of economic decline, you've got a president pushing for tax hikes and more spending, David. Which
is precisely the wrong thing to do. It's extraordinary. What he outlined there, what we just heard the president outline, was exactly what you don't want to do going into a recession or in the midst of a recession. It's actually very interesting because there were 2 times that this has happened where we had the Fed raise interest rates exactly when we were going into a recession. One was in the 1980s with Ronald Reagan. And what got us out of that recession were his lowering of tax rates and lowering regulations. That's what saved us from the recession that was meant to curb inflation. We had another example when Obama was president, where coming out of a bad recession, we increased taxes and increased regulations, and we had the slowest economic recovery in the history of American economy. So he's saying that exactly what got us into this mess is what's going to get us out of this mess, and it just makes no sense. But the bottom line is this is Biden's recession, and I think this makes any chance of him having a second term 0 to 0.
Well, that's showing up in the polls, Guy. Here is a new CNN poll on the Democrats in 2024 when asked, who should Democrats nominate in 2024? Among Democrats, President Joe Biden garnered only 25%. Those who want a different candidate, 75%, Guy. And you've got this president, after the speech we just heard, not changing course, even seeing polls like that. Why?
I don't think he's capable of changing course at this point. I continue to believe 2 things on polling data like that. Number 1, this president is not going to declare himself officially a lame duck less than halfway through his term. I know some people are calling for him to do that to save the midterms or something. I think that's not likely and sort of crazy. But I also don't believe ultimately he will be the nominee of his party in 2024. As for what we just heard from him, I mean, if you just take a step back, as we're digging through what's in this agreement, and there are, I think, a number of potential poison pills for virtually every Republican on Capitol Hill embedded in there. But if you just step back and look at it more broadly, we're in a period of hyperinflation. People are getting crushed. Families are hurting. And in the last 2 days, the Senate has voted to spend hundreds of billions in new money and agreed, apparently, to spend hundreds of billions more on top of that. More North combined, more than $500 billion in new spending in the middle of this inflation. And we are now officially a few hours ago in a recession based on the traditional definition that we've all been using for decades. And hours after that became formal, based on the data coming out today, the president comes to the podium, reads some words off the teleprompter to triumphantly announce tax increases as we are either in the teeth or heading into this looming recession. It's so backwards. And then he gives a few little talking points about how it's not really a recession for these good reasons. No questions, goodbye, and walks out. It's breathtaking.
Yeah.
It is breathtaking. By the way, I'm going to credit you fully because you just told me about it. I didn't realize that in this new Manchin-approved plan, there's apparently a tax on coal?
And a tax increase on coal. Phil Kerpen, a conservative analyst.
He's from coal country. I mean, how could he agree to that?
All right, so then as we see polls like that and speeches like the one we just saw and heard from the president, and I go back to it is double-digit % that the lower and middle class are paying for these policy mistakes, that they're paying for inflation, and it is hurting them the most. You've got Democrats now trying to distance themselves from this president very publicly. We had on the Democrat from Ohio running for Senate, Congressman Tim Ryan, and it was a very simple question. Here's the exchange.
I'm working on my own election, and that's all I'm focused on right now. We've got a little under 4 months here in Ohio, and we're running a great campaign. We're up in the polls and working really hard, so I'm just going to focus on that, and then we can chat about that after I win and get in the United States Senate. I'll be happy to comment.
To be clear, the simple question was, will you support President Biden in his 2024 re-election bid?
No, they're not going to. And by the way, I also saw in that interview that you had, a terrific interview where he said he wasn't for higher taxes. And this bill that the president just signed off on, that Manchin,
it blew Larry Kudlow away.
I mean, the bottom line is the last thing in the world you want to do going into a recession is to raise taxes. The president talks about corporations not paying their taxes as though there's one group of rich people that are affected by that, and that's all. In fact, there are thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people that have jobs with these corporations he's going to raise taxes on. Guess what they do when they have to cut expenses? They have to fire people.
Real quick, guy, final.
Just Tim Ryan with the tie loose, and he's just a blue-collar guy, so independent, couldn't possibly comment on Joe Biden. He voted for Build Back Better, $5 trillion in new spending.
Bingo.
And last year, he voted with Joe Biden 100% of the time in the House. So he can pretend, oh gosh, I'm not really attached to him. I'm not going to talk about that. Who knows if I'd support him? When it counts, he has supported him every single time in the state of Ohio.
We're a fantastic panel. We just might have to do this again.
Sounds good.
Great to have both of you here.
Thank you.